From exotic perks to extinct perks, here are 10 and 6, 7 things in Destiny 2 that you might not know. Happy Memorial Day. If you have someone who served, please give them a hug for me. My freedom thanks you. I want to start with something we mentioned in a build video from a week ago or so, but absolutely deserves a spot on this list. Siva nanites gain increased damage whenever you increase your weapons damage. This ranges anywhere from the more simple, subtle damage of a damage surge to a bit more intense like Radiant, all the way up to the more extreme bubbles and wells. Definitely worth knowing to even further max out your damage on your Outbreak, as it's effectively double the sources of bonus damage. I have been using ACT Zeros on my Titan for a while, and I see a lot of people not really appreciate how powerful these truly are when you play into them. First off, armor charges can be doubled from stacks on stacks as a boot mod for a very low cost of just 4 armor energy. I highly recommend this for any player using these because this can loop into other armor charge mods or into its protective damage. Second, these charges can be gained from dealing damage with glaives, which, when combined with Point 1, can give you a potential one-shot arc discharge in PvP after just one glaive kill. The very last thing I would like to show is that the ACT Zeros prove that a good portion of supers are actually coded as melee attacks, as these exotics' ludicrous damage resistance from melees will allow us to survive and heavily punish incoming super attacks while we have the armor charge. Take a look. If you're a veteran of Destiny 2, you may have noticed that some mods don't work in PvP, despite the wording seeming to indicate otherwise. In the past, this used to be true of the hands-on mod on the helmet. For some reason, it granted no further benefit and was ultimately a waste, despite its grenade counterpart working correctly. This is no longer true. Rip and tear to your heart's content, because this mod is now really good on melee builds. I have a ghost mod that you can't acquire anymore. Well, I'm not sure why. Bungie has removed some mods from the pool a few updates ago, but they didn't disable them for those who already had it. This is the Greater Core Harvester, and it grants enhancement prisms randomly after precision kills in PvP. This also would have worked in PvE as well, but obviously I have the PvP version. This certainly isn't game-breaking, but it is certainly odd, and now I can see if Bungie ends up changing this, at which point I'll be certain that they stock these videos for bug hunting help, which I'm kind of okay with. By the way, I was given a code for the full copy of the final shape with the annual pass. If you want a chance to snag it, subscribe, join our Discord, follow us on Twitch and Twitter. Each of these will give you an entry chance to win, and if you ever want to train with me to help you improve your PvP skills, you can join on Patreon, where I offer private trainings as a reward for exotic tier supporters. All of these are linked in the description. Let's keep going. Being invisible now removes most of your radar. Well, that is, unless you use a radar booster. Radar boosters, for some odd reason, completely circumvent the restrictions to your radar in both PvE and in PvP. Just by simply swapping to a weapon with this mod equipped, you can enjoy the full benefits of your radar while still being invisible. As a little insider info, this Wednesday is a build video using 3 of my favorite builds, and I recommend using Quick Access Sling on a build, but for the cool people who actually saw this video too, you can safely use Radar Booster to use this trick without any penalty. The other day, I was doing some recording for a thumbnail with my HUD off, and I noticed something that I'd never seen before. At first, I thought I was going crazy, or my screen was dirty, or something of the like, but sure enough, there is a nearly invisible HUD element right in the center of your aim with everything turned off on your HUD. This isn't just on the last word, as you can see either. It appears on apparently all weapons. I went back later to verify this strange interaction, and it seems that this is some kind of decorative reflective element that only seems to happen on this specific spot in the Dreadnought. Still, very odd. So we have had checkmate changes to PvP, but strangely, this update to our damage isn't as universal as you might think. For some reason, these changes to damage are actually handled sort of like a buff. While practically you would never notice this, if you perish while firing a projectile weapon, you can see the differences in damage just like with the Osteostriga right here. Since Prismatic is right around the corner, you might want to be aware of a few edge case interactions with certain elements and certain abilities. For example, most instances of the Glacier Grenade will force your character to bounce up into the air, but this isn't true of smaller crystals, such as the one from the Touch of Winter Duskfield from a Hunter. And if you place it at your feet, you will be able to hide pretty effectively inside of it, and this will even sometimes block line of sight damage checks all the way up to something as extreme as a Thunder Crash. Let's keep the Prismatic synergy going by talking about the Ace of Spades. In the past, the Ace of Spades Firefly Explosion used to be considered a source of solar damage. We even did a thing you don't know on this, but this sadly seems to have been patched. Despite the wording saying otherwise, Firefly kills aren't giving me a solar specific buff, such as when I'm using the Mantle of Battle Harmony. I hope this ends up getting changed because this felt like a niche, but albeit pretty clever way to build into elemental synergies that were otherwise not available on non-elemental weapons. This is a trick that has been around since Beyond Light, and frankly, I'm hoping I can use my mysterious content creator powers to get this changed, because it's very strong. Titans can sort of animation cancel their Shiver Strike on their Stasis subclass into a normal melee if they press the punch twice after doing it while boosting. While this may sound like a lot to get set up, in practice, it's quite simple, and it's extremely powerful as it operates effectively like a one-punch kill in PvP, and will work brilliantly with the new Whisper of Chill fragment in PvE too. We again talked about this setup in the video on screen here. Subscribe or your inner ear will itch uncontrollably. Bless your faces, and deuces.